Hi everybody, I'm Belinda and welcome to the channel. Today's video is about a doll that Pat and I have done for a challenge or collaboration with Dolls Rescued and JUK Dolls. They do a collaboration or a challenge every month called Dolls Gone Goth. And every month, depending on what it's about, they will take a name from that and add it to the end. So this one is about Nightmare Before Christmas. And I'm excited about this one because the last two videos that Pat and I have done are on dolls that were kind of, you know, pretty, cutesy, fluffy, kind of out of our norm. So I'm excited to get back to that kind of dark, jagged look that Pat and I love to do so much and that we're, well, kind of known for. It is Nightmare Before Christmas. I've always thought of it as a Halloween movie, but to me, you should be watching this movie all year long. It is a wonderful movie. They took the name Nightmare from Nightmare Before Christmas and added it onto the challenge, so it's hashtag Dolls Gone Goth Nightmare. So be sure you type that in so you can watch the videos by all the content creators. I said the fancy word content creators instead of YouTubers. I know. I'm just getting so sophisticated with these videos. Anyway, be sure that you put that in, hashtag Dolls Gone Goth Nightmare, so you can see all the videos. And I want to do a special thank you to Marna from Dolls Rescue and Jay from Jay's Dolls UK for doing this challenge. We're excited to show you guys this doll. The idea for this doll came years ago from me when I found this fabric that looked just like Jack Skellington's stripes. And I thought, I've got to do something to do with Jack Skellington because, you know, the fabric. So this whole challenge was done basically because of this fabric. Stick around, because you're going to find out what happened with this fabric. It wasn't pretty. We did end up getting the doll made, and we used a Popovy style doll. You can call it a recast, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. She was a doll that I got from AliExpress. This is my female version of Jack Skellington, and I called her Jackie Skellington. She's great. I love her. She came out of this head. Sometimes it's scary in there, and sometimes it's just quiet. Filled with cobwebs and creepy things crawling around. Anyway, stick around guys. Let's watch this video. I'm so excited to show it to you guys. Everybody spends a lot of time on their videos. These videos are a lot of work, so go watch those videos. Show your appreciation. Do a thumbs up. Show all your encouragement. Show all your love to all the content creators because we work hard for you. And that's right. We do it all for you because we love you. That's right. So let's go watch this video. Come on. It's fun. You're going to love it. absolutely fell in love with this fabric. The minute I laid eyes on it, I knew I had to make a female Jack Skellington. So here we go. I'm starting off by cutting out a dress that I wanted this very tight fitting dress for my female version of Jack Skellington, which is called Jackie Skellington. Okay, I've got the dress sewn together and I've got black lining put on the inside. Now, even though when I bought this fabric originally, I had washed it, but it was still turning my hands and the doll blue, even with the lining in the dress. I mean, literally coming off onto my hands, turning them. Actually, it was black, but it looked blue, which you know how dye works when it's black. So I ended up taking the dress off the doll and soaking it in OxiClean for about an hour, rewashed it, dried it. Here's the outcome. Now that I've soaked the doll's dress and washed it again, and some of the rest of the fabric, everything should be good, right? I'm feeling confident. I'm like, okay, now everything's good. We can continue making the dress. I even cleaned the doll since I washed the dress. And it's hard to tell on here, but she is turning blue again. And so are my hands. Look at my fingertips. I mean, they're just this dark blue black color, and the doll is too, and I'm having to use an eraser sponge just to clean up the doll, and I'm worried if it stays on very long, will it be permanent? This dress is a waste. I have to throw it out and start all over again. So there's a trip to Hobby Lobby for new fabric and a whole day wasted. Okay, I'm back from Hobby Lobby and I have new fabric, and seriously, these stripes are blinding. I can't wait to get this cut out because I can't see what I'm doing for the stripes. It's awful. Since the first dress, I just cut it out by hand, just free-handed it. I don't have a pattern, so I have to start over again. Decided to just take a pencil, draw an outline, cut it out. Hopefully it'll work out this way. After I cut two front pieces, I take one, fold it in half, cut it down the middle so I have two side pieces. Then I will cut another front piece a little bit wider than the front, and that will be the back piece, and I will cut it in half because that's where the zipper will go. Because it's cotton fabric and it has no stretch. Okay, now I have all 5 pieces of the dress sewn together. I added a pretty decorative ribbon on the top. I just really like the design on this ribbon, and I thought it would give a little character to the dress. Okay, I'm really liking this body fit. It's showing the curves, and hopefully when they get the zipper in, it will still have that good fit. I added breast darts to give it even more of a body fit, and I also put kind of a dart or pleat down the front of it to give it more of a flare on the bottom. I really like that flare look. It gave it kind of a vintage look, like, I don't know, like the 1920s kind of look, you think? Being the genius I am, I took the same ribbon that I used on the front of the dress for the neck facing. That's right. So then that way it looks neat on both sides. Please hold the applause until the end of the video. Thank you. I fold down the ribbon at the seam and then stitch it, and then I have this beautiful look on both sides of the neckline. For the hem, I used the same ribbon that I used on the neckline, and I attached it to the bottom of the dress and then pinned it down and stitched it on the machine. I know, still in the genius level. But again, remember, please keep the applause until the end of the video. Also, along the bottom, I decided to add a strip of black lace. Okay, here I've done something really cool. I took some black lace and I cut out a design out of it, and I'm going to add it to the neckline, you know, just for a little more flair. To give it that look of a white shirt like Jack wore underneath his jacket, I decided to put some white fabric behind the lace design. And to get something that didn't have ravel edges, I decided to use felt. I know, again, hold the applause. Okay, we got the nice little lace decoration sewn in and the zipper. And the zipper went in really easily. I don't know what you heard, but I guarantee you there was a lot less cussing and screaming. I'm telling you, it was a piece of cake. And for no real reason, I just felt like tying something around her neck. So I decided to add this really pretty black silk ribbon just to add to the piece that's standing up so it didn't just look odd. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Okay, even though she's wearing a dress, we know she's going to need tux tails because Jack's known for his tuxedo tails, right? Even though Jack had several tux tails, I decided to give her just 2. To fit the tuxedo tails around the waist, I added a small piece of white ruffle elastic that I hand stitched on, and then I hand stitched an hook and eye, so that way it will fasten. But to give it a little bit more of a Jack Skellington look, I wanted to add a bat somewhere and it didn't look good on the neck, so I decided to add the bat here. So I took a little plastic decorative bat and poked a couple of holes in it with my needle and stitched it on. Okay, the bat's sewn on and woohoo! It is really pretty. Please restrain all cheers and applause until the end of the video. Now everybody knows you cannot have a Jack or a Jackie Skellington without a zero. So I roughly cut out Zero's face, ears, body, and then I sew his face together and stuff it with polyfill. I have no real plan here, just looked at some pictures on the internet, so I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. His nose may be a little too long. Right now he looks kind of like an elephant. Okay, so Zero has these really long ears that always looks like they're flapping in the wind. So I made him a couple of long ears and I'm going to attach them now, and then I got to figure out how to make them look like they're flapping in the wind. Okay, Jack's ears are stitched on and I have ran the thread through them to give them kind of that look like there's wire in them when there's not. If you guys would like to see how this is done, well, too bad. Haha, just joking, just leave it in the comments. A little black embroidery thread and voila, Zero has 2 eyes, a mouth, and now he just needs a nose. Before I make his nose, I decide he needs a pillow to lay on because Jackie is a little bit more, you know, fancy compared to Jack Skellington, so I thought it would be really cool if her Zero was laying on a pillow. Okay, pillow all done, and look, Zero likes it. Stay, Zero. Good dog. Okay, like the smart person I am, I decide it's a really good idea, because I'm college educated, to use an orange marker to color in Zero's nose. And guess what happened? And that's right. You were thinking, not me. The marker bled past the nose. Poor Zero. Okay, so I had to come up with something to fix this problem, and I had to fix it fast. Okay, so I didn't actually have to fix it like immediately, like it was an emergency or anything. I just thought that sounded more exciting and dramatic, you know. Well, anyway, I saved the day by using a little bit of orange felt. Just cut out a circle and then put a hole in it with a slit, slid it over his nose that was already there, because I had got the bleeding to stop with some paper towel. It was just a little nosebleed. Sorry, bad pun. And then I stitched it on and then just took an ink pen and drew a little face on it. The face wasn't the greatest, but Pat wasn't here, the artist, to fix it, so I still think he turned out pretty cute. At least he doesn't look like an elephant anymore. Okay, we're gonna go backwards a little bit because I forgot to show you guys how I made his red collar. So just ignore the fact that you've seen the red collar already, okay? Okay, so what I did is I just took some kind of, it's kind of a felt-like ribbon that's kind of a Christmassy ribbon, and I just cut a section out of it and fit it onto the poor little Zero that I knocked over, and then I added a little teeny tiny buckle which I just stitched on, and voila, he has a really cute little red collar. Then to help him stand up on his own, I added some polyfill and stitched it in. Okay, next will be the wig, not for Zero, for Jack. Okay, now it's time to make the wig, and I start off by using clear plastic wrap and covering the doll's head with it and attaching that with rubber bands. Then I take some dark pantyhose, cut out a section and place it over the doll's head and also attach it with rubber bands. To make the whiffs for the doll's wig, I take a human wig, actually these are pieces left over, and I cut the whiffs out of it. Here I'm just trimming back the bits and pieces before I glue the whiffs on. Now I use some tacky glue, which is getting a little old, and I apply it with a paintbrush to the whiffs and then apply the whiffs to the doll's head. Because the tacky glue is old, I end up using what's called hair bond glue, and I use the dark color. It's Super Bond. I believe it's called Proclaim is the name of the brand. Anyway, it works really good to make whiffs or doll wigs, and that's what I use for the rest of the wig. To get the part in the wig, I add the final whiffs last. What I do is I'll put one side in first and then let it dry, then I clip it down, then I repeat this for the other side. Once both sides are done, then I will cover it in clear wrap, attach that with rubber bands, and leave it overnight. The shoes were 3D printed by Pat and then later sprayed with model spray paint. Because the shoes were slightly too big and because the Popovy style doll's toes are way too long, they show in the shoes, I decided to make her some stockings. So I used some of the the pantyhose fabric that I also used for the wig cap and made her some stockings. Out of some decorative chain that I had, I made a leash for Zero. Now everything is done and it is time for the great reveal of Jackie Skellington.